connected USB devices, wireless access points where you've been with the wireless, and then in the future, like I said, the driving habits. And if anyone can think of more that I missed out, just let me know after, because there's a ton of data that's contained in those cars. Okay, so as a forensic examiner, why would I care about photos or songs? Well, these photos, oh sorry, by the way, Zach, I rated your music collection. You don't mind that I borrowed your Ace of Base, do you? All right, so you think that that's just a MP3 file of Ace of Base? It's not. It's tagged with Zach's ways to pick up hot chicks. Just a regular photograph. By the way, is that the cutest dog you've ever seen in the world? Yeah, he is. Like his little mohawk? Baby. So that's a stagged photo as well. So, or child porn images, malware, really anything that you want to hide in there, because if you upload any one of these files, whether it's stagged or you've manipulated it, as long as the header and footer are going to match, the car's gonna accept it in, so you can use it as storage. All right, so these are two pictures of vehicles. They're embedded, fully integrated systems with the vehicles. There's two different styles that I'm showing you right now in the first generation. The first is a Ford Fusion 2011 without the navigation system. So you can see it's just kind of got the little teeny faceplate on the radio. And then you've got the full navigation system. Now, the navigation system gives you the ability to store data. Without the navigation system, the only way you have the ability to store data is on the flash ROM chip in the sync module, which I'm going to get to a little bit later. But that's kind of what they look like. That's, I think, a Ford Edge 2011.
Excuse me?
Yes?
Florida? You said if we figured out where the car's from, we get beer?
Oh, no. It's much more subtle, and it's later in the presentation. But this free beer means you have to sit and talk with Zach for a while, but maybe he'll go over his rules of finding hot chicks. So the first generation, Ford started doing this in 2007, and the first generation is to 2011-ish, maybe 2012-ish, because some cars still have this, some cars are moving on to the second generation. Now, there are two separate components. Yes?
This brings the question of, is there a movement afoot in the future to put the SD cards in the machines and have law enforcement be able to come up, pop out your card, pop it into a reader and say, here's your $2,000 ticket?
There is that potential, but that's coming up in the end of the presentation. That's Gen 2. So this is still the Gen 1. But, so it has separate components on the head unit. So you have I'll get deeper into that. It's got storage, it's got a hard drive in it. The second generation, some of the 2011s already have it, but it's really going to be the 2012s and 13s and up. It's a single integrated unit, so the sync module and the nav system are all going to be in one. And the storage, some of them will still have hard drives, but they're moving away from hard drives as storage. They're going to have a SD card that has a software lock on it and external USB storage and streaming for your data. So they're moving away from them having the integrated mass storage. Both of these generations are updatable through USB, which is going to be important later. All right, so the first generation, which is what you probably see on the road right now, the sync module, the operating system is Microsoft Automotive, and it's a Windows CE-based operating system. Data is stored in this module, this chip, which I'm going to show you a picture of later. You can get all the phone-related information, music indexes, user voice profiles. And then there's a couple of other little stuff that's going to be in there too that could be relevant or might not be relevant too. But it's stored in this NAND flash chip. The head unit which is the nav system. It's got the operating system, it's Clarion VxWorks. And the way that we first found out that there were two different operating systems on the nav and on the sync module, we took the sync module out of the car and the navigation system still worked. And we're like, huh. So that's kind of, that was a hint for us that there were two different operating systems. It's got a 40 gigabyte PATA hard drive with a TPM style protection on it. Data stored, you can get music files, photos, navigation data. So this is the inside of the sync module. You can see where the little arrow's pointing. That's the Samsung NAND flash. Now, when you open these up, it doesn't mean that in every car you're going to have a Samsung NAND flash. It could be a different manufacturer. It just kind of depends on where that car was built. But it's going to be in roughly the same place, and it's going to work the same way. So, again, this is going to contain the Microsoft operating system, previously paired Bluetooth information, contacts, call logs, SMS messages, phone history, saved numbers. So it is of relevance if you're a forensic examiner. If you're trying to hide the data, it's also of relevance because you don't want it to be accessed. So you want to, again, delete the profile or wipe it or whatever. Now, I don't know how many of you guys have done a lot of work with doing forensics on NAND flash, but it's not fun. So what you have to do is, there's a few ways you can do it. As you saw, there's a spare USB port on this device that you could try to acquire the NAND flash from. We actually didn't do that, so I don't know. There's also the JTAG ports right over here, kind of at the bottom. You can see them. We also didn't do that. What we did was not what we did, because we didn't do anything necessarily, remember, hint, hint. But what could be done is you could take the chip, you could remove it, put it in this flash pack device, stick it in one of the sockets that it fits, and what's going to happen is it's going to spit out a binary file. And for those of you who have done any forensics on the NAND flash, it's kind of a pain, because the way that it works is you have the wear leveling, which is going to be different for each chip manufacturer, but you can still figure it out. So for this one, you have every sector on the flash can be written over only 10,000 times. So what's going to happen is you're not going to have consecutive sectors. And there's going to be, I always forget if it's a 4K chunk or if it's a 16K chunk that has a numbering sequence. So it's numbered, a chunk right in front of each sector that tells you where that sector goes. So what you have to do is you have to get this binary file out of this thing, and you have to manually remove those chunks that tell you the number of where each chunk is, reorder them, and then you can pop it into any forensic tool. It'll just be a regular raw DD image file. So that's how you have to do it. Maybe it sounds complicated to you, maybe for some of you it doesn't, but it's really not that difficult. It sounds a lot worse than it is, so it is doable. So removing the sync module, I had a lot of other pictures. I mean, we just tore these cars apart. And this one, actually, I got permission. My good friend Ben, who I wish he was here, when I asked him if I could tear apart his car, he not only said, yeah, of course, he said, I'll help you. So he did. And this is a Ford Edge 2010. The Ford Sync module is located behind the center console. Really easy to get to. It's just held in place with clips. And then there's 4 screws, and you just remove it. And then you take the faceplate off, and then you have access to what I saw. Oh, one thing quickly. With this, when you pop out the chip to do the analysis on it, you're probably not going to get it back in. Just saying. You will void the warranty, and unless you're a pro with a soldering iron, you're not getting it back in. Sorry, Ben. So this is the head unit. This is the front of it. It's got, again, the 40 gig PATA hard drive, this would happen to be a Hitachi Endurostar. That doesn't necessarily mean that you'll have a Hitachi if you were to get one out or if you were to buy the car. I think they just kind of use whatever they have in batches. This is going to contain, because it's Generation 1, navigation data, track data, breadcrumbs, saved locations, previous destinations, and all your music files, which, as we know, could be STEG files. So acquiring the head unit. So I'm going to go over a couple of techniques that will probably work. Hint, hint, hint. Drink. Just kidding. All right. So we removed the head unit. That's kind of what it looked like. There's also a picture that Ben wouldn't let me use of Ben like standing there like with almost a heart attack on his face that I ripped his car apart. And that's the back. You can kind of see on the second one where the hard drive was. You just pull it out. It's really easy to get the hard drive. Although I got to tell you, when you take the car apart, it's a lot easier to take apart again than it is to put back together. So, any of you who are forensic analysts, you see this, you see that the drive's connected to a right blocker and I've got it into some forensic tool. Yeah, that's not going to work. Now, why is that not going to work? Because Ford is really concerned with digital rights management and protecting music being imported to the hard drive. So they've implemented this TPM lock style protection where the hard drive is essentially looking for a serial number on a module in the head unit, so in the chassis. So without that, it's locked, and it's really difficult to get around that, but it is doable. So, for example, if the hard drive gets corrupt or breaks, Ford's just going to replace the entire chassis. They're not going to get stuff off your hard drive. They're not going to fix it for you. They're just going to give you a whole new head unit with a new drive. So you can't take this hard drive and put it in another unit and have it work. It just won't. Well, without some manipulation. So ways to get around this. Clarion maintains a master password that will help you unlock this device. If you can get to Clarion and you're nice to them and not necessarily lie, but tell them what you're interested in doing, they might give you that master password. Just saying. But if you're not nice, what you've got to do is you've got to find a way to get around the TPM style lock. And how do you do that the easiest way? You just keep the car running. You keep power to the vehicle, and then it's not going to be an issue. So there's a hardware component that is in creation that what it does is it connects the head unit, the hard drive, and the laptop. So you can actually image this device. So you can see in that map, it's a middleware component that keeps power to the car, so the car's still going, so you can just image it like you would normally image a drive. And that's probably the easiest way to do it. Now, my favorite way to do this, and you might want to look at these pictures because they're interesting. Hint, hint. Maybe. Why do you say that? Yeah. And where's it from? Enterprise, yeah. You have no idea how hard it is to go to Enterprise and actually request a specific car. They don't do it. I mean, it took a lot of social engineering to just be nice and friendly and say, you know, I really am trying to buy this car, but I want to test it first, you know. And the woman was so nice. She kept the car for me, hid the key in the fridge so no one else would get that car, and it was nice. I appreciated that. I actually thanked her in the beginning. So this is a way that actually is probably